spider muscles in them?
No. That's because they don't have any. They're on a hydraulic system, shooting fluid to move their legs, as it were. Their appendages are rather like straws, veritable party whistles.
Hello, and welcome to Comics Versus, an MCUniverse podcast. We are the Lorehounds, your guides to the Nicolas Cage corner of the Spider-Verse. I'm Alicia, the lounge singer with a soft spot for a man of sand.
And I'm Jean, the podcast host who, at this moment, is 70% chaos, 30% dark side energy. And this is our breakdown of Spider-Man Noir. Heavy focus on the noir. The new live-action Spider-Verse series on Prime Video.
So, as always, this is going to be your blanket spoiler warning for all other Marvel films, TV shows, books, or comics that have ever been released. We will consider ourselves free to reference any of this lore at will, but we will start with a quick spoiler-free discussion of this show. We'll give you some fresh takes and some production information before we get into the spoilers for this show, but we're not going to pretend we haven't read and watched and consumed and in lifetime's worth of other Marvel media. Speaking of which, yeah, this is a sort of spin-off from the Spider-Verse movies. So you can find our previous coverage of the Across the Spider-Verse film because we weren't podcasting when the first one came out yet. But this is the first film is where we got Spider-Man Noir, but this Spider-Noir, who is also voiced by Nicolas Cage, but is from a different universe than that animated universe. Do you hope that we'll see crossovers?
Absolutely. I want to, I'm a fan of everything that happens in the MCU. So I want to see, more characters drawn in and potentially, expand his interactions with other spider peoples. That would be cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you a fan in general, Jean, of the Spider-Man noir comics and or like film noir as a genre?
Not really a fan of the comics. I haven't read a lot of the Spider-Man noir stuff. Film noir, I was first introduced to when I was maybe, I think, 13 in high school. Had an English teacher who showed us the movie The Big Sleep. And
very relevant for this show.
Yeah, exactly. Now that you say, I didn't think about that before. But yeah, so I wouldn't say that I'm, expert in noir and all of the things that, happen in those sorts of settings. But I do have a definite affinity for some of those movies from that time, just because of that experience that I had when I was in high school.
Yeah, no,
Shout out Mr. Black.
I have not read the Spider-Man Noir comics yet, but I really should. I really want to. Like, I had written, we've talked about this in other podcasts, but I'd kind of written Spider-Man off as a character because I'm not so into like the goody two shoes types characters. And then it was really the Spider-Verse movies that opened my eyes to like, oh, look at all these different Spider-Mens. So many fun Spider-Mens. So definitely the two that I'm most interested in, and it's just always, as always, a matter of carving out time. I am definitely interested in getting more into Spider-Man Noir and of course, the Spider-Gwen comics.
The Spider-Gwen comics are really good. So I support anyone reading those comics and continue reading those comics because she's awesome. And the stories that they're telling recently over the last few years have been really cool. So, yeah.
Yeah. And as for film noir, it is one of my preferred genres, I would say.
Okay.
I do, especially like the 30s and the 40s are one of my favorite film eras in general. And I really like something that's hyper stylized. I like complicated plots, but let's be honest, I'm most of all in it for the femme fatales. It's funny. I'm doing this like summer death race with the Oscars death racing community right now. And I had put on my list for one of the prompts the Lady from Shanghai, an Orson Welles film with Rita Hayworth, just because it was a film noir film that I wanted to watch because I knew it influenced a bunch of other things and all that. We'll get into it, but it turns out that it heavily influenced the climax of this season of television. So it was like, oh, that was fortuitous timing.
That's really cool. That's really cool. You and the Death Racers, man, I tell you.
The lists never end. The lists to check off.
I was like, I have to respect. I have the ultimate respect for you guys because, man,
there's always more movies to watch.
There's always more. It's like Kylo Ren. More.
Well, this TV show is glad to take a TV break for this and a couple other things that I've been talking about. But this is one of my favorite shows of the year. To set it up, Ben Reilly, a seasoned, down on his luck private investigator in 1930s New York, is forced to grapple with his past life following a deep personal tragedy as the city's one and only superhero. When an exceptional case comes his way, Ben must become the Spider once more. So, keeping it spoiler free for now, what did you think of the season overall?
Oh, it was awesome. This was truly an enjoyable watch. And I told you earlier, I haven't watched it in color. I've only watched it in black and white on the first viewing and the second time that I watched. And I know the color is going to pop, to say the least. But there's something with the black and white that I just feels, it just feels, I don't know, it just feels right, as I'm watching it, and just amazed that I still can find the joys in something that doesn't look contemporary, which is an achievement because I'm so used to nowadays having all the, spectacular things pop out on screen, right at me in color and wonderful, vision and, like, let's say the Mandalorian movie, you know what I mean? Just the pops of brightness, and doesn't have that in that way. And I still found myself thoroughly, totally engrossed in the visuals. So yeah, that's one thing I will say, that this was really a great watch, from the first episode to the last.
Yeah. As far as like the black and white versus color debate, I first of all, I think it's so cool that they did both. They call one authentic black and white and the other true hue, which is obviously an homage to Technicolor, where they dialed the saturation up to 11, and it emphasizes this sort of hyperrealism, surrealism, but still maintains that expressionist lighting, the dramatic lighting that they have in so many scenes. So I did end up watching it in both. I
Okay.
did my first watch in black and white and my rewatch in color. And I'm glad that I did, because I think each does have its advantages. Like, it's interesting. The intro is always in black and white. It was always meant to be black and white at first. Nicolas Cage said that basically black and white's for adults and colors for children. Although I know half the adults I know chose color, and that's, perfectly valid. They deliver different vibes, but people say, okay, it was designed for black and white first, and that's true, but it clearly was also designed for color. And I'll mention a few things going through where that really stands out to me. But just in general, the color compositions were clearly plans for, like, in the first episode. So this isn't really a spoiler. There's a rooftop fight, and you see someone in a cream suit, and there's also like canvas. It's the same cream color, but it also matches they've made the lights of the city skyline in the background the same creamy white, and it's just all balanced perfectly. So I really love what they did with the color too. Did you know this was Nicolas Cage's first television show ever?
I did not, which is quite surprising,
Yeah.
Like, for such a storied and long career, that this was his first TV thing was really something. Yeah.
What did you think of? I saw some complaints about it being an older Spider-Man.
Oh no, no, I
I
loved
loved
it.
it personally.
I loved it.
Like,
I like seeing superheroes age
mm-hmm,
and the stories that can be told as they age. And Spider-Man is one of those heroes that you know you can age and advance in time and see how he changes, right? Because you can't do the things at 60 or 50 or 40 that you were doing when you were 16, even if you
mm-hmm.
are superpowered. So I think it gives interesting stories to tell if we tell the stories of the older heroes. So no, I
Yeah.
was firmly very happy that they aged him and that he was, however old he is in the show.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they ignored it, they constantly called attention to it, and just like his, as it would be in real life, him bristling at people calling him old. He's like, "Hey, I still got it."
Right. Right.
That like couple whose house he used to live in anyway. He's like, he still got it.
And not for anything with Spider-Man particularly, even though this is not Spider-Man, but with that character, we've seen younger versions of Spider so often.
Hmm.
I often say, a lot of times I say, I'm tired of Peter Parker or Spider people being teenagers, because even in the comics they age. So to constantly have that replayed on screen for me is more troublesome than having an older, Spider person.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think Nicolas Cage was perfect for this because he is clearly such a deep fan of both comic books. We've always known that about him, and obviously film noir. The quote that you used in the intro is a reference to he said studied his character by watching The Big Sleep, the movie you brought up. But he also said that he made his performance 70% Humphrey Bogart and 30% Bugs Bunny, which I'm like, yeah,
I
no, it's like
mean,
you got the dialogue, you got the antics, you got yeah.
would it be Nick Cage if he didn't say that? If he, and that's another thing I loved about this show is that it was Nick Cage being his Nick Cagiest. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just a joy.
He's reached peak form. Yeah.
Yeah, it was such a joy to watch him just totally, just be, and be goofy and crazy and all the ticks and I just enjoy when Nicolas Cage on screen, just lets loose and
Hmm.
just goes with a character. And I think that he played this very well. This is a role that he really embodied. And you can tell that he had a lot of, at least I thought, he looked like he was having a lot of fun in the role.
Yeah. Yeah, and he was one of the executive producers too, so he was able to have a lot of influence on it. So he could. We'll talk about some of his ideas for the character when we get to the spoiler section that ended up making it into the show. But I just think there's also a great understanding and use of the tropes of noir. That both honor the form but also make it feel very modern. But we still get this complicated web of double crosses and I'm going to argue possibly one of the best femme fatales of all time.
Mm, okay. Okay.
Hmm.
I want to hear that argument.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, it's set. I love when they choose a specific historical setting, even though it's an alternate universe and things are different, but it's 1933 and they are like our universe. They are in the middle of the Great Depression, which lasted from 4 years before that for another 6 years after that. And it's the last days of prohibition, which has been going on for 13 years. But now we see like people are just openly drinking in bars left and right in this show. It's basically over. People are like, nah, we're done with that. I guess though, for me, there's a lot of technical aspects that I want to shout out that really made me like literally melt in my chair. Okay, not literally melt, but my muscles go.
Close enough. Close enough.
Yeah, close enough. One, the music. We had music by Chris Bowers, who is a prolific film scorer, and Michael Dean Parsons, who got an Emmy nomination for working on Bridgerton. Loved all the music. I've been listening to the soundtrack while working. Some of it's very jarring in the fight scenes, but I loved especially the jazzy stuff, like the opening theme song by Kirby, which this opening had a never skip status for me. I didn't skip it once.
No. I mean, the entire feel of the show was just, chef's kiss, from the music to just the environment. When people are not even speaking or just standing around, the vibe was immaculate. You know what I mean? So I just felt like they hit everything again as someone who's not like, deeply knowledgeable about noir. Just on the surface level, I was like, oh, that's Humphrey. You know what I mean? And it immediately made me recall those things. And if you're doing that and that's the intent of what you're doing, then you're doing it well.
Yeah. Yeah, we owe a lot of that to executive producers Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, who are also responsible for the Spider-Verse stuff. So it makes sense they would bring them over as executive producers here. You've probably heard those names most recently as the directors of Project Hail Mary, so they're having a great year. But then they tapped their friend Oren Uziel to develop this idea of Spider-Noir into what we see here. And so Uziel's best known for work on Mortal Kombat Rebirth, 22 Jump Street, The Cloverfield Paradox, and The Lost City. And I'm going to be honest, I don't love any of those things, but I do love
Really?
this. Yeah.
Huh. I like Cloverfield.
I like Cloverfield, but I like the first two movies. I was just talking about this with David because Paradox is his favorite. And
he said Paradox is his favorite.
Yeah, and Paradox is my least favorite of the three Cloverfields. Yeah,
interesting.
But the other Uziel did the show with the other showrunner was Steve Lightfoot from like Hannibal and the original Punisher from Netflix. So I'm like, yeah, I can see how these two vibes balance each other out. I think Hannibal especially is kind of an over-the-top show that jives well with this, in terms of balancing these tones to create something unique.
Yeah.
It is interesting. This is an Amazon and Sony co-production, so that's why it's on Prime and not Disney. I wonder how Disney feels about that.
Especially since it's really good.
Yeah, it's really good. There was rumors of a big budget, but the budget number going around is just ridiculous and not real. Like, no, everyone agrees it's not real. Probably
it's not Rings of Power is what you're saying.
Yeah, it cost, like I heard one number going around that it cost $150 million for the show, which is expensive.
It's a lot.
It's expensive, but it's like that's within the realm of possibility. Would, it's not insane. Certainly the Acolyte famously was 180. So,
bring back the Acolyte.
Because now you spent on the first season developing all this stuff, and then you have cost savings going forward. Come on.
Put in another 220. Make it a nice round 200.
Yeah, but then it's like if a show is so expensive, why on earth would Amazon binge drop it?
Yeah, because I think sometimes people don't know what it is that they have, and they may not believe in the final product.
Yeah.
So Sony does not have a great track record with the Spider-Man
but that's universe. Why they asked Lord and Miller.
I know, but still, there's this feeling I'm sure that people have with like, well, they're not really good at this stuff. But, we'll try it out and see what happens.
That's also why
But
people are so blown away by this. They're like, "Oh, wait, you can make
it
good
was really
stuff."
good. Yeah, exactly. Like, wait a minute. So it's I think the lack of confidence in Sony um, helming or being a part of it played a role. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I wonder if the success of Project Hail Mary,
We'll change that.
yeah, helped that at all already. Yeah, no word about a season 2. I'm hoping for one, but we don't need it, and I do appreciate that.
Yeah,
We got
yeah.
8 episodes,
You
about
got
40 to
closure.
50. Yeah, 8 episodes, about 40 to 50 minutes each, and it told a very complete story without overstaying its welcome or feeling too rushed, in my
Yeah.
opinion. I do wonder the fact that it was filmed in LA, that could contribute to the cost too, if I'm being perfectly honest. Like, I want jobs to still be in LA, but yeah, we need to work on how things are priced and who ends up benefiting from all that money spent. But that's a whole other thing.
That's a conversation to have.
You know what I'm most obsessed with in this show, though, is the cinematography. Not to like pull a David here,
It's just beautiful.
but since I can't get him to watch the show,
Why won't he watch it? I'm completely baffled.
I think he's just not in the mood for it.
Okay.
But yeah, so the cinematographer, it was Darren Tiernan, who did. Oh, it's two. Darren Tiernan, who did The Penguin, Westworld, Barry, etc. So yeah, I see all that. And Peter Deming, who did Mulholland Drive, The Cabin in the Woods, a lot of horror films. Yep. All that there. I especially love the use of mirrors. We'll talk about that a bit more, of course, but they had me deep diving into the split diopter lens. Or is it diopter? I'm going to say diopter. Have you heard of this before?
I have not.
So it's this technique. It's an old technique that was popularized, I think, by Film Noir, where it allows you to focus on two different depths of field at the same time. And it's used so like for instance, there's this shot in the show where Kat and Ben are talking, and you see like the one face reflected in the mirror in the background as they're talking to each other, so you can see both faces in screen at the same
Okay,
time,
yeah.
both in focus. And they do this in film noir especially because it's a bit unsettling, because that's not how it's supposed. You're not supposed to be able to see two different, when we look at something, other things are supposed to fade away when we focus on
Right.
one thing. So it creates this clarity, but in an unsettling way. But then they just compound that with, I love this like elegantly topsy turvy way they were moving the camera, and creating a bunch of angles, but just the way the camera was gliding between things and just constantly keeping you slightly on edge. And not to mention just the way that they framed so many shots. Like, there's a sequence I shared on Discord just about the way the light is like playing through these fans and highlighting Nicolas Cage. It's even better in black and white, to be honest, that one, than color. A lot of these shots are especially striking in black and white.
In black and white, yeah, I agree. I haven't seen it in color, so I couldn't only agree with what I saw.
But even in color, like, I love this shot. I think it's in the first. Yeah, it must be in the first episode where Ben meets with this other PI, Donegal, and they're sitting at the bar, and the camera is like almost at the bar level, so you see the entire bar like going into the distance and getting smaller and smaller with the two men sitting at the end of it. So the men look almost like tiny and trapped in the shot with this elegant bar around them while they like whisper their plans together. Like, oh, chef's kiss. All the chef's kisses. Yeah, I mean, in general, most people agree with us. We've on Rotten Tomatoes, we've got like 91% from both critics and audiences. We've got Metacritic's 72% or 7.3, and IMDb has a healthy 7.9. Yeah. What do you think about the Pukila scale? How
Oh,
violent
oh man.
emotionally and or physically is this?
1.5 to
Yeah.
2.
I don't think it's very, I
Yeah.
mean, people die, but it's not
1.5.
like,
It's not
it's not like
gratuitous.
gory. And I think there's a
Yeah.
lot of kindness in the characters.
Yeah. I would stick with a 1.5.
Yeah. Like there are some bad characters, but there's a lot of good characters.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm with you on that. And I just, okay, I'll stop talking about the technical aspects, but just one more thing. I love the editing in this too. The way they have these, they'll have like these pacey montages that feel very, of the era, but they'll have these super slow transitions, like they're a photo developing in between
Mm.
shots, and then have that cut with these like crisp, clean cuts between all these eye-popping framed shots that I'm talking about. I don't know. Just yeah, I loved it. I love the characters and the camaraderie. Like even the big bad played by Brendan Gleeson was delightful. Top banter throughout. I love the humor. Like one example, this is not really a spoiler. When he's waiting for the payphone to
Oh
get an important
gosh.
call, and this woman
Oh,
comes up,
uh,
and she's like, I need to use it. He's like, oh no, it's broken, and I'm blah 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 blah. And then the phone rings, and he answers it and puts it back and takes a bite of his sandwich. And she looks at him like, what was that? And he's like, wait a
yeah,
minute,
he's
wait for it, wait for it.
yeah.
I lied, and walks away. Just the comic timing is so perfect for all this. I think I'm gonna rewatch the show a lot of times personally.
I think so. I think I will as well.
Yeah.
And that's another thing I want to remark. Like the supporting characters were so very well fleshed out. Right. I didn't feel there was a character like I never asked, oh, why is this person in this? You know what I mean? Like what
Mm-hmm.
they don't need to be here. I didn't feel like they had extra, fluff to the story or to the setting or to the people involved. Like everybody fit, and the actors who played them so very well.
Mm-hmm.
So that was another thing. The cast was just extraordinary to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I liked how unique it was. Like we'll talk more about the individual characters, but it's not what you would expect from, it's not a direct adaptation of the Spider-Man Noir comics. They've taken a lot of liberties, changed a lot of things, but you can in the multiverse. Why not? I think that they made it specifically their own thing. What would you say to anyone who's considering whether or not to watch this? To whom would you recommend this?
First and foremost, anybody who enjoys superhero fanfare, DC, Marvel, whatever, this is something that you'll enjoy. I think people who like good banter and who like, crisp pacing and just enjoy watching actors act,
Hmm.
um, and enjoy watching actors act on screen that have these incredible sets.
Mm-hmm.
This is for you. So basically, anybody who watches movie and TVs.
Yeah. I think one of the things I really liked is just seeing the characters together. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You like movies, you like TV shows, then you should watch this.
You should watch it. Give it a try. All right. Well, we'll put a pin in that there, take a quick break. And when we come back, it's full spoilers on the table. So you are warned. Be right back. Okay, so we're going to talk through the entire season in one shot. And we're going to be talking more character by character rather than episode by episode. Starting with, what did you think? The intro, always in black and white, foreshadows the finale with all the broken mirrors.
Yeah.
and with the song Saving Grace. Why is that a never skip?
It's just the feel, like when from the first episode, it just jolted me up. Like I was like, oh, okay. Like I was shaking my head. Okay, I'm okay. Okay, let's see what's going on. And I thought the music was great. It's just like a setting. It feels, I was anticipating things, and just watching how the pictures moved on screen was just like, yeah, I want to see that every time, actually. Just to get me into getting me ready for the next episode. You know what I mean? So to me, that's why it wasn't so much about the technical things that they were doing, but it was really about how it made me feel.
Yeah. Yeah. Were you surprised to find out that this Spider-Man was going by the name of Ben Reilly?
I was really. For folks who don't know, Ben Reilly in Marvel Comics is a clone of Peter Parker. Has a very the Clone Saga in Spider-Man comics. Oh, we could talk about that for maybe like 3 episodes. But yeah, Ben Reilly has a very colorful history in Marvel Comics. So I was surprised that they used him particularly as this Spider-Man.
I only know him from was it Into or Across the Spider-Verse, where he shows up voiced by Andy Samberg, but nothing at all like this character. He's like has like a sleeveless sweatshirt on or something, hoodie or something, like totally different vibes. And of course, Nick Cage did appear in the first of those movies as a different Spider-Man Noir.
Right.
But yeah, I guess, so there was a lot of theorizing, like, why did they change the name? Alyssa brought up a good point on our Discord about these SPE guides that had all these rules about Peter Parker, like that he can't drink or kill anyone or, do immoral things. He has to be blonde, according to these, but apparently a lot of these have fallen by the wayside. But I still bet it has something to do with that, something to do with separating it from Marvel more. What do you think?
I don't. I think you know what? I don't know if I agree with either one of those things, because I just feel like with the success of the Spider-Verse, people are more inclined to accept multiple versions of Peter Parker.
But I don't know that Marvel is inclined to allow them to use the name on a different platform.
Yeah, I don't know.
And Disney is being more protective about, quote unquote, traditional values these days too.
Well, that is a good point. It would be silly of Marvel to do that, in my opinion, at this point, with those movies already having established this multiverse and having had the wildly successful acclaim that they receive for those productions, for those stories, for them to be like, oh no, you can't do that now, would be the same thing that Sony did to them in the early aughts. So I just, it would sit poorly with me if that's the reason. Maybe that's why I don't want to believe that.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I did also notice that that in The Big Sleep, I just I watched that recently too. That's got me on a whole noir kick again. And the main character played by Humphrey Bogart, his name is Philip Marlowe, but he also refers to himself sometimes as Doghouse Riley. I'm never completely sure why. I feel like that must be a period specific reference that I don't know what it's relating to, but it is interesting that Riley shares the same name.
Right. Right. Interesting.
Yeah. The very interesting origin story here. We got that he was bitten by a feral mutated human spider while liberating soldiers from a German experimentation prisoner of war camp. So this was during World War I. So about 15 or so years before this. What did you think of the de-aging of Nicolas Cage in those flashback scenes?
It worked for me.
Yeah.
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 I thought it was well done.
Yeah.
It totally worked for me.
Yeah. I think it worked better in black and white than in color for me.
Okay.
But
All right.
but yeah, I think that he's probably an easier one to do because they have so many images of him
Of
when
him.
he was in his 30s or whatever he's supposed to be in
Right.
those flashbacks.
Right.
So yeah, I thought that they did a great job. I'm sure that didn't help with the budget either. But apparently it's quite common now that even like if they're not specifically de-aging characters, a lot of actors are still like Tom Cruise still want to have some touch-ups done. I do love one of the influences, the quote that I played at the start of the episode is one of the influences that Nicolas Cage had on this, where he's like, this character is basically a spider trying to cosplay as a human. So he takes on these spider mannerisms, but also like he watches movies to learn to mimic human mannerisms. So we see him watching Great Guy from 1936, a James Cagney and Make Clark movie, and like mimicking with his hot dog. He's got all these fucking hot dogs all the time. And I love that.
Don't
like,
disparage the hot dog. Don't disparage the hot dog.
No. He's what did he say something about like it's better to have a hot
It's
dog?
better to have better to have a hot dog at
the park or something than like a
no,
steak. I gotta get
the quote. I gotta get the quote.
No, I mean, I just love the fact that Nicolas Cage could have his. This is a world where his wacky, and I say wacky in with all love. Like this is one of the reasons why this is one of my favorite actors. But you know, he could have these specific ideas, and they actually really work and make this unique, and so they're able to incorporate it into the show in ways that just that totally makes sense within this world. And the quote, do you know anything?
It's better to have a hot dog at the ballpark than a steak at the Ritz.
Yeah, he's not wrong. You know, it's just like let's just chill and have fun. I love like the way he's mimicking this hydraulic system throughout. And at one point, they save him, and Lonnie says, "Should we get him a doctor or a priest?" So Ruby J. Williams is his fiance who passed away. She was murdered 5 years before this, and this is why he stopped being the spider. So this is obviously his canon death. She's the one who told him with great power comes great responsibility, which he later inverts because he wants to escape the weight of the city on his shoulders. But did you also think she was a redhead because her name's Ruby?
I didn't think she was a redhead, but what I did think in the moment was very Gwen Stacy vibes.
Okay.
From when Gwen Stacy was killed.
Right.
That
true.
same, Spider-Man diving, try to save her and can't. That's the vibe that I got. It's like, oh shit, this is his Gwen Stacy.
True. No, that makes sense. They just tricked me with the name Ruby, and then I was surprised because I was like, oh, she's like a Mary Jane, but no, you're right.
Instead of Peter Parker and stays heroic, Ben Reilly chooses to become a non-hero, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you get to see the differences between the two Spider-Mans.
Right. Because like if he's feeling guilty that he wasn't there when she drowned because he was busy drinking, on the one hand, you would think that like he would be like, oh, I better stop drinking and be there for people more. But in reality, that's often not how it works, to be honest.
Right.
I loved, that he starts out as a typical PI, always broke. I felt very bonded to his money problems in the beginning. They don't even have the phone on.
Tell me about it.
But it was nice. I was really happy for him that he made his other private investigator friend in episode 1, Patrick Donegal. But then, of course, the guy gets immediately first kills the guy he's chasing, and then is himself almost immediately killed because he's being greedy. Like, Ben tried to warn you, dude. Yeah. Why do you think Winston, the thug, offered that guy 50 and Riley 30. Like, come on. Riley clearly is the better detective. Like, I don't even know the guy, but come on.
Well, we don't see Donegal's like outside of when he's talking to Ben, we don't really see him. So we don't know what he portrayed himself, how he portrayed himself prior to that, right? We only see him afterwards. So maybe, he's out and about and he's really looking the part. Whereas, Ben he's struggling, man.
Yeah.
He's struggling. It's like you can immediately walk into the office and see the struggle. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna say, hey, you can do this job for me, but you're gonna offer less money because you think he's gonna take whatever,
Yeah.
And maybe
Okay.
Donegal wasn't in that position. That's what I think.
Maybe he looked more put together. He certainly had a
Yeah.
wife who required money, it seems.
Yes. Oh, God.
Well, we'll talk about her a bit more, of course. But by the way, when Ben he decides to go back into spider mode, so he goes back to his old apartment and busts his old costume out of the wall. And yeah, he does a few other capers like this where he's putting on a fake persona.
Yeah.
Those moments, 100% a reference to Humphrey Bogart in The Big Sleep. He even like flips up his hat brim the same way at one point. No, I liked. I mean, it was clear that there was a lot of very direct homages throughout. I really appreciated it. How did you feel about the way that Spidey's powers manifest in this version?
I thought it was cool that they were so different from what we know, how we know Peter Parker's power works.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, the Spidey sense wasn't a tingle. It was it was more of a serious pounding,
Mm-hmm.
like his webs not being readily accessible. I think they, and I wasn't sure if it was because he hadn't used his powers in such a long time, or if it was because that's just how it was.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the one thing
maybe it's an aging thing too.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that. So that was super interesting to me as well. The way he moved while swinging and fighting was great. But I think the one thing that really stuck out, the two things that stuck out, was the way that the webbing couldn't shoot out on call,
Mm-hmm.
and the way that his spider sense worked differently from Peter Parker's.
His spider sense almost seems like a migraine, which is like, how real is that? A migraine of intuition, yeah. And yeah, his webbing looked kind of like grimy in this, and much more like steely, like almost metallic in some ways.
Like it's like organic, like steel wool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but he's still like, he's hard drinking, definitely kills people and all that stuff, but he still has like that spider goodness within. He keeps saying, I didn't do the spider thing for the thrill. I was never a hero. And everyone's like, nobody believes it for a second. They're like, sure, dude, whatever. Right. Here, have another drink. I did notice that the stunt double was slightly smaller, like shorter than Nicolas Cage. And I noticed it more when I just rewatched it in color than in black and white. But that's just me being very nitpicky.
There were certain scenes that I thought that the double looked smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily in height, but just smaller overall.
Mm-hmm.
Like slimmer
Mm-hmm.
than when Nick Cage is on screen walking around as Ben.
Right.
So I did notice that. I did pick that up.
Yeah. But did the actions well and everything, so.
No, the action was great.
Yeah. And I mean, but for me, I guess it's always going to come down to especially the psyche of these characters. And this is a guy who loves the people around him, but loathes himself for not being able to like be better to them. And like the way he calls before he tells Kat who he is, and he's talking about the other ones, and he's like, those other freaks, like the spider, like, aren't they freaks? Not, he's talking about himself. He's
Self
hating
too.
himself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like this is, and I think it's because of the way that he gains his powers. You know what I mean? Like walking into that laboratory full of, people that were experimented on and changed, and having like a half spider, half human bite you. Well, what else could you think? You know what I'm saying? Like it makes sense for me for him to think of those other superpowered people and himself as freaks, especially given like the time that he's living in.
Yeah. 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 But he remains relatable because he loves food. Who were your favorites of his friends?
Oh God, in order?
Well,
Or
yeah, I
just
mean, pick who was your favorite?
my favorite, probably Janet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know Karen Rodriguez, the actress, from anything else, but yeah, it's Janet Ruiz. She
Ruiz.
Ruiz. She was fantastic. Just yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely nailed it. It's like perfect comedic timing. Yeah.
I thought
Really
she
like
was very believable in the role of underpaid staff.
Mhm.
Someone who's working hard and not getting anything for it, but
Mhm.
still, what else is out there? You know what I mean? And I think she portrayed that very well, and she portrayed like this competence, in what she does and how she does it, and just like, I know you're full of shit, but we're still here. We're still gonna try to get through this, but don't try to pull any wool over my eyes, because I know you're full of shit. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
really enjoyed her and Nicolas Cage, her and Ben Reilly, their interactions and how they bounced and played off each other.
Yeah. Yeah, you could really feel, I mean, we'll talk about another character too that you could just feel the friendship, but there you could really feel like at one point toward the beginning, Ben's like, what I know, she knows to Kat.
Yeah.
And it turns out that's even more true than he thinks. One of the things that made me cackle out loud the most was the montage later on in the season where it turns out that he's told her over and over he's the spider, like
Yeah,
every time he's drunk.
yeah. Every time he's drunk.
And she's like, yeah, okay. Yeah, you're hanging from the ceiling. All right, but you got to call.
You got to come down. You got to come down.
Oh, the showrunner or the creator Uziel, he said that Janet he thinks of her like Effie Perrine from The Maltese Falcon, the 1941 film, a character that can be helpful, that the private investigator can lean on, that can be hard on him, as you were saying, but loves him. And yeah, that definitely all came through. I'm glad that at the end of the season, she gets to be an investigator of her own right, and I hope she's finally getting regular payments now. And I hope she made a lot of references to her husband, who we never saw, and that's fine.
Oh
I'm
gosh.
okay with that. But I want to see their dynamic in season 2. I hope he could be a really delightful, specific character, like who winds up with him. I hope he knows how lucky he is. But yeah, the other bestie, I was really glad to see Lamorne Morris back as
Yes.
Joe Robbie
Yeah.
Robertson. I, of course, know him, I'm sure, first from New Girl, but he's been in tons of other stuff since, and he's just always really
Never
funny.
seen that.
You've never seen New Girl?
Never.
Oh, man. I love that show.
Yeah, never watched it. Nope.
I just was looking it up while I was putting together this outline, and I couldn't believe, I didn't even remember it was on for 7 seasons, and this is back in the day where 6 of those 7 seasons have more than 20 episodes. Like, wow.
interesting.
TV used to be a lot. It's a lot to catch up on. He has a rewatch podcast about the show, and I've been wanting to listen to it. But yeah, he's a freelance journalist who's ambitious, also dealing with, 1930s racism. So it's interesting. He's kind of like combining us. So dealing with the struggles of being a freelance journalist, I feel that. How did you feel about how they handled the aspects of 1930s racism in this? Was it too light? Was it just right? Was it?
I in most fiction, I always say it's too light. And most of the things that we watch and talk about, it's always too light. So I don't even critique that anymore. But I thought that the one scene that was particularly powerful was when he sat at the desk in the newsroom and he's, so happy.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just beaming.
Mm-hmm.
And the camera pans to the rest of the room where everyone is either scowling or looking at in disbelief and wondering what the hell is, he doing there.
Yeah.
And he's totally oblivious to it. Like, yeah, I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
That was an extremely powerful moment for me. And I thought that was the best part of the way that they handled racism in this story was that moment. The perseverance of this black man and the face of the opposition and facing the opposition and letting them know that, yeah, I'm where I'm supposed to be. But you still see the hardship that's going to follow him. That's going to be a part of his life.
Yeah.
And I think that was the best moment that they portrayed on screen in regards to how Robbie's life is, apart from being best friends with the Spider.
Right. Yeah. The Howard Walters is the Daily Bugle editor in this version of the story. And he was a dick. He sucked. So it was funny to see his small, smacks back at him. Like they had the thing where Walters takes his story and like changes everything but uses his photos. But the photos are good.
Yeah.
And then, after this, like, Robbie's obviously mad about it, but he's not. The way he handles it is like, he's like, oh, okay, door open or closed? He's like, closed. He's like, okay, leaves the door open and walks away. Just like these little fuck yous. Like, I see what you're doing.
Right. Right.
But I feel like I understand he's ambitious because he's driven by real financial need, but also wanting to, make something of himself to prove, just the way we all do, the way we all want our own career. But also at the same time, he's eating ketchup sandwiches. He has one nice orange suit, but he's eating ketchup sandwiches.
And that's the thing, right? Not just wanting to prove to yourself, but prove to the world, right? To prove to that newsroom that's looking at him with disdain and disbelief that I'm better than you at what we all do. I know it. And all I need is the opportunity to show it, right? And that's what you get from Robbie. Like, he's out to show the world that's openly hostile to him that he's better.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do whatever it takes to show that I'm better, whether I live or die trying. And this is very powerful.
Yeah. Uziel, the creator, said that Robbie is optimistic and thinks he's lucky and it's all going to work out, which contrasts, of course, with the cynic Ben. But I liked these moments where he, like, at one point, he walks up to this hotel and there's this whites only sign out front. So he goes around back and he finds a black bellhop and starts getting the tea from him, which honestly is probably more than he would be able to get from the front desk.
Absolutely.
So he's taking, this wall thrown up in his face and being like, actually, I can go through this side door and get in better. Like, you can't keep me from the truth.
I'm going to show you I'm better, and I'm, my
work
people
my own
are,
angles too.
right. Right. And we're here just as much as anyone else is here, and I'm going to use that. The people that you discard, the people that you don't think are worthy, and you know what? Look at this. I'm getting the information that I need, and that's how folks did it. You know, folks had to circumnavigate the rules, you know, that were intentionally set up to be harmful to you, and use, you know, every avenue, every point of access that was denied. There was some place else that you could gain entry, and that's what he did.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think, you know, when Uziel says that Robbie's optimistic and thinks he's lucky and all of that stuff, that it's all going to work out. I didn't find that. I didn't find that he was like some happy-go-lucky, you know, guy, you know, walking through the world like, yeah, everything is going to be all right. No, I didn't find that. I thought that he was working his ass off to make everything all right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It wasn't just luck. He wasn't just, you know, hoping. He was actively, you know, working towards the hope. And there's a difference in that.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair. I was glad that at the end, you know, he was working to get this job back. And then, as you said, there's
Yes.
that confrontation where he's sitting there and he's like, what am I doing?
Yeah.
And so then we find out at the end he's left and he's taken the risk, but he's gone to start his own operation, the Harlem Herald. You were saying just before we recorded that you found out that he was based on a real person?
Yeah. So, you know, Lamorne Morris, he posted on I saw a post on Threads that he posted that he actually based his character on a real person, Theodore Poston, Ted Poston, who was the first Black journalist at the New York Post.
Okay, when was that?
Oh gosh, when was he appointed? I don't remember. I'll look it up and I'll find when he started at the Post. But
I mean, I think it was around this time, right?
It was in the 30s. It was in the 30s, definitely. And he, you know, is wildly acclaimed. You know, multiple award winner, Ted Poston, and the dean of Black journalism. So yeah, it's amazing that he plucked that and was able to find that to relay this character of Robbie Robertson, which I thought he did a great job.
Helps ground the character, yeah. Yeah, and I love his relationship with Ben and how he's the only person at the beginning who Ben thinks knows he's a spider. Of course, you know, Janet does too, but
1936.
Okay, so yeah.
1936. But he had been working as a journalist before that.
Right.
But it's not like that was his first job. But, you know, 1936.
Mm-hmm.
He'd worked for, you know, Black papers before.
Yeah.
But the Post, you know, the all-white Post hired him as on a temporary basis, I think.
Right.
But still.
That's a breakthrough, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I appreciate the character Robbie, also that he just that, you know, they have this not really even a confrontation later, but he says to Ben, he's like, you know, when you stopped being the spider, that messed up my career too, because that was like really helping that I could cover you. But he just genuinely wants what is the best for his friend, and in return, Ben also wants what is best for Robbie.
Yeah.
And I have to say, you know, Lamorne Morris, like a lot of the people in this are doing a bit of a 30s, you know, sort of accent thing. Lamorne Morris, for the most part, seems to be playing himself, it seems, or like people were confused. There's another character named Winston, and they're like, I keep confusing them. I'm so glad when the other Winston died. But I have to give him so much credit for his imitation of Nicolas Cage at the end of the season.
Oh,
when he
that was
to
good.
Be the spider.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. Yeah, he did. He did. That was good. That was good.
I was also excited to see Carrie Christopher back as the kid Frankie. Carrie Christopher is the kid from Weapons. And he was also in this terrible movie this year called Outcome, but it wasn't terrible because of him. Actually, he played a somewhat similar character in Outcome, just like a sassy kid. But this is a very different character from his Weapons character. What do you think of Frankie? No?
Frankie was cool. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Frankie. All right, Frankie. Frankie was cool. I didn't think it's interesting that you have all of these characters, and we don't often see children in these type of stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when we do see them, they play like important roles.
Mm.
Like he's Ben's eyes on the streets. You know what I mean? So it's not as if he doesn't have an important role in Ben's life, because he actually does. Yeah. And that was nicely portrayed, I thought.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's on screen a definitive amount of time, I'm sure also having to do with child labor laws, but really well used, where we get a full idea of his personality, that he's become this scrappy street kid. And I have to say, I have an abiding affection for the musical from the early 90s called Newsies, which is set a bit before this. But as soon as I see a newsboy character, I'm like, oh, Santa Fe. No. But it's like he really is helpful. Like he's casing the place when he's in Ben's office, but also Ben knows that this kid will come through for him. Like he's a pickpocket, but he will give, if he picks Ben's pocket, he'll give it back, know? And he's like a clever kid. He's running his scams with, like, he's got that quarter on a string scam. So people pay him for the payphone, and then he puts his quarter in that he can pull back out so that he doesn't lose the money.
And as we're talking about him, I never once thought about, where's his parents?
He's an orphan. He said he's an orphan.
No, yeah, I know. When he said he was an orphan, but it was just like, where are the adults? Like, where's his parents? Where's the orphanage? Where's anyone who's taking care of this kid? And the thing is, in real life and in these settings, so often those children, their stories are never heard, right? So you have this street kid, orphan, who's integrated himself into Ben Riley's life. Or maybe did Ben integrate himself into this kid's life?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, what I think about, what I imagine the rest of his life to be is very much shaped, as I said, by Newsies, which is set, I think, about 30 years before this. Also in New York City, but it shows, like, if I recall correctly, the opening scene pretty much is the boys waking up at the orphanage and then being shoved out to, like, okay, go get your newspapers and sell them to earn your money for the day, earn your keep, earn your money for food, whatever. But yeah, I think, like, on the one hand, you could think this kid would just be like, oh, here's two people, Ben and Janet, who are, who I can milk for money or food or whatever. But he's also very reliable. Like, anytime Ben asks him to help, he does it. He does, even just a glance on the street will get him to, like, intervene and distract someone who's following Ben, even though that puts him at risk. So I was glad to see that by the end, Janet was giving him schooling.
Yeah. And that's the thing too with Ben, is him insisting that he's not a hero. Mm-hmm. But these little small acts that you can see that he's lying to himself.
Yeah, absolutely.
These little small interactions, you can tell that he's lying to himself, that he very much wants to believe that he's not a hero. Mm-hmm. Because, of Ruby.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Well, this is a good place for another quick pause. And when we come back, let's talk about the Femme Fatale and the Goon Squad. Be right back. So Lee Jun Lee back as Kat Hardy after this is for me, this is the third major role that I know her from. She was in a film that I saw a while ago, Chinese Puzzles, from one of my favorite French directors. But anyway, I know her best from the recent films Babylon in 2022, where she played Lady Fei Zhu, who was a lesbian actress who kind of got chased out of Hollywood back to Europe by the changing morality codes. And then, of course, we saw her last year as Grace Chow in Sinners. And she was completely a different person in all three of these roles. I might not have even known it was the same person if I didn't know going in.
Mm.
What do you think?
She was great.
Mm-hmm.
She was great. Kat is great. The twists and turns with her character was awesome, and the way that Lee Jun Lee played her was just remarkable. I really enjoyed her on screen, and then the way she manipulated things, and
Mm-hmm.
all the best possible of ways.
Yeah. No, I like that I think so. Apparently, her character was inspired by actresses like Anna May Wong, Rita Hayworth, Lauren Bacall, Kim Basinger. And I think I know exactly what the references are for all of those. Like we already talked about two of those films, The Lady from Shanghai and The Big Sleep. But I just think, yeah, she nailed the mannerisms of the femme fatale, like that. Every time she did that walk, I'm like, yes, that is the walk. It's a very specific walk. I guess the only thing is like, if there's a season 2, I hope we get to see her suit up as Black Cat. So do you want to tell people who? So she goes by Cat Hardy here, but do you want to tell people who Felicia Hardy is?
Yeah, she's a Spider-Man. Sometimes love interest, a lot of times villain. She's a thief extraordinaire, hence the name Black Cat.
Mm-hmm.
She has powers that bad luck seems to follow the people she directs it at. So she's just it would be cool to see her on screen as Black Cat.
Mm-hmm.
It would be cool. It would be cool.
I mean, I loved seeing her as this nightclub singer, and complicated love interest who's plotting to kill Silvermane. As you say, she wants bad luck to follow Silvermane, and it does.
and as we think about it, like the comic version of Black Cat could be a femme fatale.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
As I think about it more.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be very appropriate if we get a season 2, if she was able to come back in that role. I think that would be, that would be spot on, actually.
I was talking in the most recent Second Breakfast episode, which is a subscriber extra, about which we've been keeping track of needle drops in television shows, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I have to choose one from this show, and I've decided my needle drop for this show is her introduction and the song that introduces her.
Yeah,
she sings "Dream a Little Dream,"
yeah.
Dream a little dream of me, but she just the way she sings it in that iconic headpiece, and this is one that I might like in color even more than black and white. I can't decide actually between the two, because the lighting is so the lighting does different things in black and white versus color in that scene.
All right, so when I watch it in color, I will weigh in with my opinion.
Okay, but see, there are things in the color side that you don't see. Maybe I slightly prefer the black and white, but there are things in the color side that you don't see in the black and white, they all the colorful clothing they're all wearing. And at one point I had no idea she was wearing this two-toned green and gold sequin dress that I had no idea was like that until I saw it in color. I was like, whoa, that dress, wow.
Okay.
But she's not just a pretty face, she's also a pianist and a composer, and they show how she's feeling trapped by Silvermane, and she's really she's just looking for a good guy who loves her, which is a lot of femme fatales are awful people, but she's not. She's not an awful person. She does questionable things.
Oh, she did. When
She does
I
more than
mean,
one questionable thing, to be honest.
yeah. When she sold my boy out, I said, "Oh man." I said, "No, don't do it." And she did it. I was like, "Oh man."
And
Like,
she's just cheating on Flint
hurt him.
already. Yeah.
You're not gonna hurt him, are you? I'm like, yes, they are.
What do you think?
It's bad. This is bad, bad, bad.
Do you think mad scientist lady is going to give him cuddles and kisses?
No, absolutely not. Yes, he's gonna get hurt. Don't do it.
Oh. Can you picture her? So we found out she was previously in love with a dentist, and Silvermane had him killed. I'm kind of with Silvermane when he's like, you would have never been happy with him. Let's be real.
Why not? Come on.
I think with Flint, yes, I could see
on.
it. With Flint or Ben, I think she needs someone who's.
We don't even know the dentist. You're being anti-dentist.
It's true. I shouldn't
Don't
be
be an
judgmental.
anti-dentist.
I did used to date a dentist for orthodontist, actually.
Yes, she could have been happy with the dentist.
Maybe. It just feels like, yeah, maybe Flint and or Ben is a better fit for her.
He could have been a very stylish dentist.
He might have been, but I don't know. It's not like does he have that creative spirit, that angst, that yearning that she needs?
You never know what he did with teeth. He could have been a very flamboyant dentist. You never know. Don't write off the dentist, man. Come on.
I don't have to, because Silvermane did it for
Silvermane did.
Oh. But yeah, I felt, though, the pool, like the love triangle between her, Ben, and Flint. Like, I felt there were times when she looked at Ben and I was like, oh, I think she really does care for him. But of course, her first love in this situation.
It was Flint. Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So she hires Ben to look for Flint, but then romance starts brewing between her and Ben because, film noir. I like this whole sequence where she thinks he's a coward because he won't help her go save Flint. But then, of course, he goes as a spider. And then she's like, wait a minute, you are the spider.
Yes. Yeah.
And she does this thing when she intentionally falls out the window to force him to catch her.
Yeah.
That's got to be a Superman reference.
Oh, yeah,
right?
absolutely. Absolutely.
Because we know Nicolas Cage is a huge Superman fan. He almost played Superman. Yeah. There's no way that's an accident.
Different reasons, but, Lois falling is not to prove that Clark is.
Well, she forces him to catch her because she's going to fall into Niagara Falls, and she forces, she goes in and he has to get. No, first time she goes in and then he hides it, but then
yes,
back at his building. Oh, I'm trying to remember. Sorry, it's been a couple of years since I watched.
I think this one.
It's also a Gwen thing, right?
It's a Gwen thing, but again, that's when Ruby passed, right? And we see the dive, right? And this one is definitely a Gwen thing when she's falling off the building. Mm-hmm. But like you said, it's also a Superman thing that he's going to catch Lois whenever she falls, right?
Yeah. But Lois also intentionally tried to force him to reveal himself.
Yeah,
right?
in that movie. But I'm thinking in the broader sense of Superman and Lois.
No, I'm speaking 1979.
Specifically. Okay, yeah. Okay.
That's what it made me think of first. But I think, since you brought up Gwen earlier, absolutely. Also that thing where she falls and he doesn't catch her in that case. But here he does.
Right, the Andrew Garfield movie doesn't catch her. In the comics, he doesn't catch her, but in this, he does.
Yeah. Yay!
Yeah, thus proving that he is the spider. Mm-hmm. Back to Lois.
Right. And what did you? Are you a Brendan Gleeson fan in general?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I thought he was great in this.
Yeah, so he played Finn Byrne, aka Silvermane. So this is sort of like the Fisk stand-in, and I know he comes from the comics also. A lot of these are like, they didn't go with the most obvious one, but went with something similar from the comic. I don't know that I've ever read a Silvermane comic, but I have to be honest that when I saw it in color, I was like, oh, his mane is not as silver as I expected. But a lot of people have been talking about the fact that, so Brendan Gleeson is, of course, Irish, but he really dialed the accent up to 11 to be like what people call Irish. He's Irish. And yeah, so he's a mob boss who, like, Ben used to fight as a spider, but of course he doesn't know until the end that Ben is the spider. And people keep trying to kill him because he's ruling the city through fear and murdering anyone he disagrees with. So he is like a very Fisk character, right?
No, he is. He's like a crime boss.
Mm-hmm.
In Spider-Man comics and Marvel comics, like what do they call the mob and the magia? Yeah, 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 yeah. So he's like he starts off as, you know, a member, and he forms his own family. He becomes a Don. So he's very much like the Kingpin. Like in New York City and Marvel Comics, you have all sorts of, you know, mob type families, criminal, you know, enterprises for the street level characters. So Silvermane is definitely one of those, and one of the more powerful ones. He's always interacting with the street level heroes in the Marvel Comics.
Okay. In this, and I know in the comics, I think he's Italian, and here, of course, he went with Irish.
Sicilian, I think specifically.
Okay, and so here, yeah, they went with an Irish backstory, which makes sense because Brendan Gleeson was perfect casting. So yeah, lean into that. Also fits the era too, and he references that he's a child of the famine, of the, you know, potato famine.
Yes, yeah.
Lost 2 brothers before he was born, driven by hunger, literally. And he says, I think it's interesting that he says he made it because of his gambler's heart.
Yeah.
And it's not strength, guile, or ruthlessness that got him there, but courage and restlessness. Yeah. Which, like, it's interesting because when he's saying this part to Kat, I'm like nodding along. I'm like, okay, I see that. But then he continues and he says to Kat, his advice is never be satisfied. No one is ever going to give you what you want. They're going to give you what they want to give you for their own reasons. And she's like listening to this and her face is registering that she's like, that's you. That's exactly. You're talking about yourself.
Yes.
And I should never trust you. And that's absolutely true. And that's when she calls Janet and decides to, you know, do the double cross back to Spidey's side.
But in that moment, I thought that he knew he was telling her. Look at
you think? Like to kill? Yeah, based on what he says at the end. Yeah. So that he, like, okay, let's talk about the final confrontation for a minute in the Hall of Mirrors. This is directly reference to that Lady from Shanghai movie from 1947, the Orson Welles one. And it's also, it has this iconic ending set in this like Hall of Mirrors like that. In this case, I think it's on a boardwalk pier in San Francisco or something. Mm-hmm. But it ends very differently. Like it does in both cases. I mean, actually, that one, that one had some more death in it. But here it just ends with him being killed, and he says, "Truth is, my love, I'm happy it's you." Why do you think he said that?
Wow, I thought about it in my first watch, and it's not that I feel like he loved Cat, because I don't think this man is capable of that. I didn't think that. But I do think that for a person like that being killed by an enemy, by somebody who you know is gunning for you, someone who you know is that you hate, is worse than being gunned down by someone who you think had some sort of affinity for you. And on my second watch, I felt like he was saying, I'm glad that you grew up finally. I'm glad that you took my advice and you see the world for what it is, and that you listened to what I've been trying to tell you all along. And you took matters into your own hands and got away from me by killing me. Because that's the only way you were going to get away from me.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he had as much affection for her as he could for anyone. And I think also for Flint too. And so I think also part of him was like, okay, now you and Flint can maybe be happy.
I just think it was a sense of pride that he got her to do this thing.
Okay.
Got her to this point. Like, yeah, I groomed you to be a killer, and now you're a killer. And I'm happy in this moment of my death that all my work grooming you led to this moment.
It's an interesting twist on The Lady of Shanghai, not to spoil an like 80-year-old movie or whatever. But in that
Can an 80-year-old movie be spoiled?
I mean,
is that a possibility? Is that a possibility?
If you're planning on watching it because we said it's related to this, hopefully you've stopped already and watched it. But because here I am going to talk about the ending.
Okay.
But in that, Rita Hayworth's character she's a femme fatale, obviously, and it's funny because she basically did that to Orson Welles plays the sort of hero character. He's not a gumshoe. He's not a private detective. He's a sailor who she gets to work on her husband's yacht while they take this cruise. Anyway, and it turns out the entire time she's manipulating him so that he will become a killer and kill her husband for her, basically, and take the blame and all this. But then, yeah, it's funny. It's like, because both finales take place in like funhouse mirrors, but they are funhouse mirrors of each other in like the way that their themes are twisted versions of the same thing. But there's much nicer characters in this show in the end, I'll say. Gleason said that Silvermane is a philosopher with a drone eye view who is dangerous because of that. I'm like, I don't know. Does he?
I don't know about that.
Does he, like, he thinks he has a drone eye view?
What kind of philosopher is he? I've never met a philosopher like that in my life. What kind of philosophy he philosophizing about? What are you talking about? I disagree, Brendan. I disagree with that totally.
I think that's the thing that the actor who plays that character should say, because I think the character thinks that about himself for sure.
Maybe. But I disagree.
I also think he is less of an overview than he thinks he does, or else he would have long known that the spider was Ben Reilly.
Was Ben Reilly.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, by the way, we didn't say that we learned that Ben Reilly apparently is a name that he took on after the war. So presumably that means his name is Peter Parker before that? Maybe. Anyway, yeah. I mean, Silvermane, like, he is evidence of karma. He was doing a lot of bad things, and so people kept trying to kill him. They tried to burn down his house. The entire city turned on him, tried to ambush his team at the docks. And the mayor turned on him, Mayor Morris, and he must have seen, as this was going on, the control slipping away from him. He's someone who liked to control people. He kept Kat in an apartment that he decorated, and he told her what she could wear and what she could sing. And obviously killed her boyfriend because that would have taken her away. And he sees this control drifting out of his hands because people like wake up and say, this guy sucks. What did you think of the twist that Ben used to mess with him about? He says people lie, only money tells the truth, and Ben realizes, oh, he's marking his bills, which I have to say is much more obvious. Like in color, I'm like, if you don't notice that there's a colored marker on your bill, that's a problem. In black and white, I'm like, yeah, that's totally believable.
I love that line. I love that line. Like, I'm going to use that line in my regular life. I love that line. People lie. Only money tells the truth. God. that's like a Notorious B.I.G. line. It's like a J line. It's like a Nas line. Go, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. That's what Jay said. So
I don't know that I disagree though, because I think
I know
money
you
is
just I know.
money is a thing we all made up. Like, it's lying all the
Yeah.
time. Its existence is a lie.
I love it. I love it. We could talk about that for another 3 episodes.
Who wants a series of Sean and I just dissecting everything the characters say?
Philosophizing
from a drone's eye view. It was fun to see Lucas Haas show up as Winston, Silverman's right hand man. He was like in a way, he was one of the more villainous, like one of the outright bad guys, where he's like, "Oh, too bad you couldn't get Addison's widow out of town. I had to slap her around a little. I only had to slap her around a little bit to get the truth." And Ben's like, "What a guy!
What a guy!"
But did you feel bad that he became
No.
sacrificial lamb to keep?
Absolutely not.
No,
I didn't feel bad. No, you gotta go. I'm talking
He
about
didn't
you
do it,
you slapping people or you slapping women around. Nah.
he didn't do it, but I didn't miss him either.
No,
I mean, even though I
no.
like the actor.
No, Lucas Haas is cool. Lucas is, yeah, but Winston had to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I did wonder like how much, I don't know. Like, for instance, this Mr. Carmody character, we meet him in the beginning. He comes in pretending to be Kat's wife and hires Ben to go spy on her, and basically he wants photos to frame her as like to being with the mayor, so that I don't know, this is for Silvermane to catch whatever, to like, he suspects her basically.
Blackmail.
Yeah, and or kill her. You know, he suspects
her
of being the one who like sent Addison to burn down his place, for example. And then we find out that Mr. Carmody is really just this guy named Hicks, and you're like, what does Silvermane have on you and everyone else to force you to do these things?
It's probably pictures.
Yeah. He's like, very much. He's like, you're gonna take pictures, right? Pictures? Do you take pictures? And Ben's like, yeah, dude. Like, that's part of the job. Chill. By the way, taking pictures of the guy putting stamps on himself is so random.
Oh my gosh, what was that? I was like, what is going on in this building?
We all got our kinks. Like, that one doesn't hurt anyone. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I loved all these little side characters. Like, and then the politics were muted, but kind of on point in a way. Like, we only saw Alfred Morris, the mayor, and we find out that there is a rival named Hudson who's being run against him, and we never even really see Hudson.
Yeah.
He's a puppet of Silvermane, right? That's the implication.
No, that's what I thought. Yes.
So that's why it's like, we don't really like, Morris isn't a great guy, but at least he's not Silvermane's puppet.
But he's terrible though in his own right. He stinks.
Morris, yeah.
Yes, Morris.
But he's going to end prohibition.
Well, yeah, I guess that doesn't stink, but.
But what were you gonna say?
No, I just think he's a politician, an opportunistic, camera greedy. He's gonna try to twist and turn every person's victory into something of his own. So yeah, I thought the Morris character was very true to how I see the majority of politicians then and now are, unfortunately.
I mean, yeah, that this political situation was definitely a case of choosing the least of the possible evils. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't help but root for him when he's teaming up with the chief of police to take Silvermane down, but it's also like, I don't know that I want either of you in power either.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think Ben would make a terrible mayor. How about Robbie would be a good
Robbie
mayor.
for mayor.
Yeah, Robbie would be a good mayor. But then, Morris, he's got the city on his side, but he loses his advantage when Silvermane get some superpowered thugs. So let's take a quick final break here. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the quote unquote freaks of Spider-Noir. So Silvermane, he has these two goons, Perry and Pudge, who first of all pushed around our Queen Janet. Screw them. I couldn't even. I was trying to pay attention in my second watch. Like, did they both die in the finale? I'm not sure. Don't necessarily care.
No, I don't think they did.
I thought maybe they
Pudge
ran.
died.
They ran when once like the fighting started going down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
maybe I don't see them die. I don't remember them dying on screen.
Because there were people who got shot down in like that shootout in the restaurant. But
yes,
I think they were like red shirts, basically. Sorry, that's a Star Trek reference. But yeah, but then they kind of get pushed to the background. They're like always there, and they're just there throughout. But really, for good reason, Silvermane's like, no, the real power is in the superpowered ones. So first is the one who attacks him. We meet Jimmy Addison in the first episode, and he has some sort of pyrokinesis abilities. This is a brand new character for the show, not in the comic books. And as we've said before, like his Ben's PI friend for the day, he ends up shooting and killing him because he's like, he's on fire, panic, shoot.
Wow.
And that leaves behind Vera Addison, his widow, who just definitely loves money more than she did her husband. Or like, who loves people less, Vera or Silvermane?
Silvermane.
Yeah?
Yeah. Silvermane.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. Vera, like, she was
Vera
ready
didn't love Jimmy.
No.
Silvermane doesn't love anyone.
But who does Vera love other than herself?
We don't know. That's my thing.
She was perfectly happy to sell Cat out until she's like, oh, we can blame that Winston guy instead. Oh no, he hurt me. Let's blame him. But she's not on anybody's side but her own.
I agree. But I know for a fact that Silvermane does not love anyone and cannot love anyone. I can't say the same for Vera. She doesn't love anybody that's in her orbit right now, but that doesn't preclude her from loving. I think Silvermane is without redemption, personally.
Okay. I mean, I don't know. I kind of think they're on the same level until I see her show even a bit of affection to like a bird or something. I mean,
that's fair. That's fair. Yeah. That's fair.
What did you think of? So I was glad to see Jack Houston here. He obviously Angelica Houston's son, been in lots of things, but I mostly know him from Boardwalk Empire, and he plays Lasher in the Mayfair Witches. Are you familiar with him from other things?
Not really.
Okay.
Like I don't even recall him from Boardwalk Empire.
Oh, he was the one with the mask on because half his face was shut off.
Oh, that's my guy. I didn't realize.
Yeah.
That was my guy in that series. Okay, all right. Okay. Jack Houston, sorry, I was not familiar with your game. My bad.
What did you think of him as Flint Marko / Sandman?
I liked him in this role. I thought he played it well because Flint is not a real, to me, Sandman and a lot of the Spider-Man properties is not out and right bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he does bad things. He is a villain, but he is redeemable in my eyes, even in the comic books. So
yeah,
I like,
even in the movies that we've seen him in so far.
Yeah, so I like that they kept that and they showed that this is somebody who, you know, can have some redeeming qualities and is not fully a Silvermane, you know, mustache twirling villain. And I liked the portrayal, and I liked how his powers worked and how they showed it working. his transformations, if that's what we can call them. It was just done well. It was just done well. Trying to hold on to some semblance of humanity, you know. Um, yeah, I enjoyed all of the villains here.
Yeah, no, yeah, they were great. Different levels of evil, as we'll talk about. And he was like the medium flavor, where I don't think he was evil at all. He just Kat called him loyal to a fault, and I
Mm.
think, but then the question is always like, who is he loyal to?
Loyal
Because
too, right?
that's gonna, he's Kat's bodyguard to start. But then he becomes like Silvermane's henchman, obviously, once he's like, oh, you have superpowers now? Oh, that's interesting. But then at some point it seems like he chooses Silvermane over Kat. Obviously that changes in the end, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's because I guess I'm questioning, like, should I be mad at Kat for cheating on him with Ben? Because at the end of the day, like, she just wants to run away to Santorini, and I think Flint is maybe pushing her away because he knows, like, he's gonna die because of this condition.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, so he's like, well, better I just stay with Silvermane, and who maybe has some abstract idea might be able to help him, and let Kat go live her life. Is that how you read it?
I think I read it exactly that way. Yeah, I think he doesn't want Kat to see him um, as Sandman, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he wants to be able to be human with her, but he can't be. You know,
Yeah.
even if he's not doing, he's not out and around and committing crimes or anything like that. It's just the simple nature of what he is now is no longer human, and he doesn't want her around that. And it's too painful for him to try to embrace her and not be able to do so.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just think he said, fuck it. I'm not human anymore, so I might as well just, work for this guy who's terrible, but
Well,
you
but
know,
I don't know that he thought he was terrible, because he's like, he thought he was loyal to him.
he knows he's terrible. I don't buy that.
Hmm.
I don't buy that. He knows Silverman is terrible. He's watched. He was Cat's bodyguard. He knows
Mm-hmm.
he's terrible.
True. True. Apparently, his superpowers kicked in about 6 months ago. We'll come back to that with the doctor, but now it seems to be progressing very quickly. So I imagine
Yeah.
for Kat, this is like a real whiplash in how he's treating her.
Right. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely.
So she agrees to run away with Ben, but then as soon as she sees a way, I guess because she wanted to run away from watching him die,
Hmm.
watching him
Maybe.
basically be Silvermane's goon until he dissolves
I
into
think
sand.
that was more of it, not just watching him die, but watching him be Silvermane's goon.
Mm.
I think that's what was driving her away. Because if he wasn't Silvermane's goon, I don't think anything would have happened with her and Ben, personally.
Mm.
But I feel like that his deteriorating, and also being Silvermane's goon was just too much. Like, I can't fuck with you.
Yeah.
I can't be around this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let me open myself up to other possibilities, because this one is not anything that I could stomach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it honestly, their relationship seems healthier than you might expect in a superhero show. Like she's betraying him and Ben for each other, but she ultimately she chooses him because she says to him, "You loved me at my worst, and you pushed me to be better," which is honestly the most you could hope for in a true partner.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I do believe her that, in another universe, she and Ben could have done laundry and taxes. Or,
Yeah,
to be honest,
definitely.
in another universe, specifically the comics universe, they are already together. uh, so this one of the betrayals that that Flint was most stung by, she took him to the theater. And to say, when I watched the theater setting in black and white, I was like, oh, I can't wait to see this in color because it looks so like atmospheric and detailed in black and white. And when I saw it in color, I was like, oh, it's pretty in color, but it just,
Better in the black and white.
yeah, it had more of that
wow.
like atmosphere. It seemed more
Okay.
plain somehow in color,
Okay, that's
which is
interesting.
weird.
Yeah, that is.
Yeah. But yeah, so she did take Ben there. That's true. But he also took Lincoln, Lonnie Lincoln, aka Tombstone there. So it's not like he's doesn't have friends. No, I know you and I we've previously talked about a version of this character
Yes.
with what's it called again? The Amazing Adventures of Superman. What's the new one?
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Why am I saying Superman?
Spider-Man.
No, but what's the freaking thing called? The
Friendly Neighborhood Adventures.
Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. That's what it's called. Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Then the animated series. There's a season 1 that's out now. Season 2 coming relatively soon. So this is like maybe this. So we have Lonnie Lincoln as Tombstone. This is maybe like the most faithful character in some ways, but in other ways, he kind of looks like an armadillo when he gets his powers. What do you think about this as a version of Tombstone?
I didn't see Tombstone.
No. Why not?
First, no. Because when I imagine Tombstone, I don't imagine him looking like, I imagine him looking like the comic version, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Grayish almost, like a Tombstone.
Mm-hmm.
So, but the way that, Lonnie Lincoln is in here, I don't want to say that he's not a criminal enough.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different character. It's not, because in the comic books, and when I watch these things, I have to often separate those comic books from what I'm watching. He is a villain.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of Spider-Man's biggest villains, actually.
But the animated series, we really get an empathetic.
The animated series is totally different from the comic books again, and for the better, I think. It gives more depth to the character, and here it also gives you more depth to the character, because he's not just simply, I'm going to rob, I'm going to steal, I'm going to, build my criminal empire. Ha 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 ha. He's not just that. And I think the story is served way better with him being, on some sort of, wavelength where you're trying to figure out if you're going to be, stay true to your morals, or if circumstances are going to push you to being something that you probably don't want to be. Like, we have to remember, like, these men were soldiers, right? Mm-hmm. And we think of them as fighting the good fight. And I'm sure they thought of themselves in that way too. Just obviously they probably were drafted into the army and they went overseas to fight, and now they're here doing things and working for someone who I don't think they would have ever imagined that they would have been working for. Circumstances. What will you do when the circumstances change? Who will you be? And I think those are fascinating questions to ask, and we get to see them asked by these characters, specifically these quote unquote freaks.
Mm-hmm. I kept thinking he was kind of in super powers way, like a combination of Luke Cage and Jessica Jones, in the way he's indestructible, bulletproof, superhuman strength and durability, but then also with armadillo skin.
No, that's a good point. That's a good point.
What did you think about he said, I'm done putting my life on the line for white men, although he still, of course, remains a friend of Flint, and Ben earns his trust as well.
Yeah, I totally understand, brother. My brother. No, I get it. I
Especially
understood
not Silvermane, but yeah.
Especially not Silvermane, right. And I get, the compromises that you have to make and the decisions that you have to, do, and the ways that you have to be in this world, especially at that time. And I think being in the war, coming home and having the experiences that you have as a Black man when you went overseas to fight for freedom, both in World War I and II, and then coming back to non-freedom is, real. And he deals with it in a way that is different from Robbie, right? There's this spectrum on how the world impacts you and how you react to that impact, right? And we get to see it in these two characters specifically, who are, I would say they're on opposite ends of the spectrum.
But
right?
I liked his interaction with Robbie at the end when he says to Robbie, like, the world needs people like you as much as it needs people like the spider. That he really was appreciating the way that Robbie approaches things. And
even though he's not going to approach it in that way.
No, it's not him, but he's glad
still
that there are
need you,
Robbies out
right.
there. Yeah,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I think I'm going to argue the possibly most terrible white man of them all in this show, but actually a low key favorite of mine from like the camp perspective is the Dirk Leiden. I'm pronouncing it the Dutch way. It's probably Leiden in English character, aka Megawatt. So we're talking not Electro, but Megawatt. I didn't even know this character existed. Were you familiar with this character from the comics?
No, I don't. I think it's
he is a
Megawatt
real.
is.
He's from the comics because I looked it up afterwards and I was like, "What is this? Is this not Electro?"
I didn't even look it up. I just assumed that this was a wholesale new, character for this show.
Yeah, no, I think.
So you're telling me something that I didn't know. Right
okay, now. So it is. I obviously neither of us have read the comics that this character comes from, but it is another electricity controlling character. So I think it's interesting that they're like, let's take some classic Spider-Man villains, but like not Fisk, let's do Silvermane, not Elektra, let's do Megawatt. But Lonnie Lincoln, you're cool. And I saw mixed reviews of this aspect online, but I personally loved the voice he put on. I thought it was so much fun.
It was so campy, and I enjoyed that so much. I thought he was a great villain. Like, not like Flint, not like Lonnie. This was a terrible person who was a villain through and through.
Wannabe Shakespearean stage actor, but
with mommy issues.
Yeah, stuck as a subway driver, which is so it's ironic he's killed by a subway car or a metro car. I'll say I liked the way they did his characters, his powers. I liked the way they did his electricity powers. But they looked super cool in black and white.
Yes,
so say if you've watched this in color, it's worth watching in black and white almost for his powers alone. Like the other things
they really stood out. It really stood out.
Yeah. It's funny to think in retrospect, he only showed up, I was noticing in my rewatch, he only shows up at the very end of episode 4. So right at the mid-season point, but then he kind of like takes over the villainy in a way. Do you see where I'm coming from? Where in some ways I think he's worse than Silvermane as a person?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yes.
I mean, obviously that eventually, like Flint is already giving him the side eye the whole time. He's like, I don't trust this guy. And then when he attacks Kat, obviously all bets are off. And then Ben, of course, is also anti-attacking Kat, so throws him in front of the train, and that's that. But at the same point, he has a point when it comes to the question of why should Silvermane control the people with the real talents? Why should the person with the money get to control, the people who can actually do things and how they use that?
That's the thing. It's a great question to ask in superhero genre. Why is Nick Fury? Why is Allegra
Defontaine?
Why does Lex Luthor, you know, anyone who doesn't have powers, why do you think you can control what I do?
Yeah.
What is it within me, or what is it within you that makes you think you can control what I do?
Yeah.
And
Well,
that's a great question to ask.
Like, why do studio execs get to control the people who actually make the stuff, you know? The people who have the creativity superpowers. Yeah. The man's asking good questions. I'll give him that. And also he maybe gives the best death, which is clearly a Batman Returns reference, where he's had this guard who's been torturing him, and for some reason ends up spending the night sleeping in the cell next to him while he's in the whatever. Fine. TV staging, whatever. But then he gives him the kiss of death with the electricity, and
Nice.
Silvermane's like, that was weird. I'm like, no, that was Catwoman. You just say, I'll save one life for a rainy day.
That was nice.
We call Cat the femme fatale, but actually the most fatal woman in this would be Dr. Alethea Faber.
Oh my gosh. Mad scientist on deck.
I thought it was interesting. Janet, at one point, she refers to this as some sort of failed super soldier program. So does that mean in this universe, Captain America was a World War I hero? Like, how do they know about the super soldier program in 1933?
But it's failed. So did it work?
No, well, she's saying that this one with our quote unquote freaks of this show has failed. I don't know. But so we find out the doctor's trying to find a cure for the metahumans, and we learn it's because her son, Ogden Faber, who used to be known as Freckles, we meet him as an old man who's Dr. Faber's secretary, but then we find out it's her son who got like the worst superpower ever. It's not even a superpower. He just got old.
It's terrible. Just got old.
He's like, okay.
It's your entire life here.
Yeah. So I'm wondering how that happened. But anyway, she wants to save him. And she thinks that Ben is the key because Ben is the one who's had these superpowers this whole time without dying.
Right.
So I'm curious, like, what? Okay. So I get that why she thinks like, okay, Ben is the key to stabilizing this, because obviously it happened with Ben. Obviously also she is a mad scientist who has a lab full of dead mutated soldiers in glass cases. Like, get rid of that shit when you're done. I don't know like,
oh my gosh,
you're still studying them because I think they're rotting.
No.
But what, she cuts something out of Ben's liver and he actually goes full on yellow for a while. And like, why do I remember? I can't remember where this came from because I couldn't find this on the rewatch. Like something about like, why is his liver a mitigating factor when he's an alcoholic? You would think that like that would be the opposite.
He's also super powered, right? So
yeah, but why does that stabilize it?
Maybe I don't know. That's a good question.
Like, I would have thought that the thing that was different is that instead of him being directly hooked up to the animal, he was bitten by someone else. So there's like this step in between. That would have been my guess. That's not the direction they went.
I have to think about that.
How freaky was the dream though when she cuts into his liver and he dreams that like his mask turns into a giant spider? And
that was great. That was great.
That was so much better awesome. In black and white again.
That was so awesome. It was very creepy.
Yeah. You can only see his face goes yellow in color, though. So see, both sides have their edges. But yeah, somehow it works. She makes antidote out of.
I mean, she's a mad scientist. She's,
sometimes
it was always going to work at one point. I think she had all these failures before. After, had to have.
You learn from your failures grace. Eventually.
Yeah, eventually you get the right combination, and that's it. Boom.
But Ogden is a good one. Her son, actually, he goes to save Ben, and then goes back for his mother, and then I don't know. So he gets the antidote. He's cured. And then it looks like they both die in the fire, but I didn't see them burn. I don't know that I believe.
Exactly. I don't believe that they passed, that they're gone.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't, I want to see the burnt bodies or no death. I mean, if this is the only season we get, that's fine. That's a fine ending for them. But if we get a new season, I would not at all be surprised if at least the son came back. And of course, Ben gets out with the antidote, and Kat. This is the point where she's like listening to Silvermane, and she's like, "Ugh, all right, let me reach out to Janet."
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm done with this bullshit. You're like a cat throwing up a hairball.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
And so she says, like, okay, and this is true, and she's absolutely right. She can get close enough to deliver the antidote to Flint and Layden. Obviously, though, you need Silvermane not to get in the way, and this leads to, I loved this finale standoff where it's like, you have to call the spider, but of course he is the spider. But then, of course, that's why Robbie is helping there. But then he starts to, Layden recognizes Ben from, being saved from the camp.
The
and
lab,
you would think, like, the guy who saved you, shut up and let him live.
Nope.
And then Kat, she kind of redeems herself here, actually, because she's like, don't go after him. He's not going to save me because I broke his heart and I'm the one who tried to kill you. And she's pulling all of the heat onto herself. And then, of course, just in the nick of time, because television, Ronnie walks in dressed as a spider, and we have that delightful exchange.
That was just great. That's probably my favorite scenes of the entire series.
But I was frustrated with Robbie when he's like, I thought it was stupid to bring the antidote inside. He's like, oh yeah, much better to leave it outside with Janet where the goons can get her. Yeah. And then at the end, we said obviously Layden gets killed. Flint and Lonnie are cured. Do you think?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Do you think? I don't know.
Like, it seems weird that they would be cured forever. Like, they may be stabilized. Like, they can control it now.
Cured. I don't know if they're cured.
Like, if there's another, if this is the only season, fine. But if there's another season, I would be shocked if they didn't bring those actors back with superpowers. Even
I wouldn't be mad at it.
No,
I wouldn't be upset. I wouldn't be upset. No, not at all. I wouldn't be upset at all.
Although I hope Lonnie has a nice time in the meanwhile in Niagara Falls with his mom. Do you think if there had been a cure left over, do you think Ben would have actually taken it?
No.
I don't think so either.
No, I don't think he would.
I wouldn't. No. I'll keep my spider powers if they're not going to kill me.
Yeah. I don't think he would have. I think by the end, he's seeing War to embrace what he is and stop, kicking himself in the rear because of what happened. Mm-hmm. So I don't think he would have taken it. No,
I think maybe we talked about him loathing himself, the freak. But I think by the end of the season, we're seeing movement toward the arc of accepting himself more.
Yeah.
His advantages and disadvantages, but also
the ways that he can help, especially help his friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So do you want a season 2?
Yeah, I'm all for it. But like you've said before, like, if this is the only season, then they did it well. Mm-hmm. They didn't leave any threads hanging. It's a story that was told, and a story that was told well, and that's great. But yeah, I would love to be dropped back into this universe.
Yeah. It's a near perfect season of television as is, but it would feel like a natural continuation of the story if to have another season. And there is, I want to spend more time with these characters. I want, I've said some of the things I would love to see, like Kat suiting up and Janet with her husband. What is that home dynamic? What's going to, like, are they going to adopt, what's his face, the kid, Frankie, is that his name? Yes. Yeah, so I would love to see it. And it would be fun and I would be for it, but these would just be like small cameo moments if this version of the character showed up in the Spider-Verse movies or Secret Wars.
That would be whew. I don't expect it to be.
No.
But
maybe Spider-Verse movies more so, but yeah.
Yeah, but I would be cool. It would be cool for that to happen. But do I think it's going to happen? No.
I want like double Nick Cage in Secret Wars, just cameos, but like I want Johnny Blaze, Ghost Rider, and I want Ben Reilly, Spider-Noir. Bring it on.
I don't know if it's going to happen.
I want like a whole motorcycle brigade of Ghost Riders, though. I'm like, give us all the Ghost Riders.
I wouldn't be mad at that.
No.
I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad at that at all.
I'm waiting with bated breath for Midnight Suns.
I know.
About this show, will it make your top 10, do you think, of TV at the end of the year?
I mean, it's in my top 5 right now.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be in my top 10.
Yeah. I think it's even for me at the moment, and we'll see, once recency bias loosens its grip. At the moment, I'd say it's like number 3 after only like The Vampire Lestat, which nothing else can touch, obviously, and Widow's Bay, which is like the surprise piece of perfection this year.
Okay. I have not finished Widow's Bay yet, so.
Okay. There's one more episode left.
Okay, great.
So the finale could ruin it, but I don't think so.
I haven't seen The Vampire Lestat.
Mm-hmm. Did you watch Interview with the Vampire, the first 2 seasons?
I didn't.
Okay. Yeah. I would recommend starting there, but yeah.
Okay. All right. Fair.
But I think you like.
I still think Wonder Man for me is the best TV show that I've watched.
That's definitely, that's in my top 5 still too. But Interview with the Vampire, so I have to tell you one thing, they updated from the show to make it really specific. And it reminds me of like the way that they incorporated this history, for example, of Storyville in New Orleans. And it almost, like, I learned things about it in the way, that I've learned about the Tulsa Massacre from a couple of different pieces of media, things like that. So
that's good to hear. I'm glad. Mm-hmm. Wow.
I recommend it. It's definitely, make sure E is nowhere nearby because very much blood, very sex.
5 plus on the scale.
Absolutely, like turn up the. I just did a rewatch of it and I was surprised. I was like, oh yeah, there is a lot of gore, but it's like, well, there's also like domestic abuse and stuff because it's funny, but it's very dark at times too.
Okay.
But there's also like a lot of times the gore is played for laughs.
Okay. All right. But still good to know that he won't be watching it anytime soon.
No. Not until he's like 30. But yeah, I think it's been a good couple months for TV. So
yes.
I mean, so we have on the Lorehounds main feed, we have weekly The Vampire Lestat coverage going on. About to start weekly House of the Dragon coverage with you.
Yes. Next week, actually.
Next week. It's going to be you and me the first 2 weeks, then you and David for the rest.
Yeah, next week.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to that.
And we, Into the West, just released a conversation to honor Gene Hackman. So that's David and Brian and Lisa. And next week, there's going to be more coming up in the public view. David and I are talking about Disclosure Day, the new Steven Spielberg movie.
Nice.
And
I haven't seen it. You seen it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what do you?
I've seen it. It was a fun summer blockbuster, and Emily Blunt is phenomenal. Which obviously David's a huge Emily Blunt fan, so I hope he's happy with that.
Cool.
And we're doing a Widow's Bay wrap up, probably end of next week as well. So can't wait for that. That's been one of the big delights of this year, as I was just saying. Widow's Bay horror comedy. If you like horror comedy, and you're not watching Widow's Bay, do yourself a favor and fix that immediately. And yeah, what's coming up for Comics Versus? We have a busy summer coming up.
Man, we got Supergirl in 2 weeks' time.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait for that. I'm so excited for that.
Looks fun.
X-Men 97, season 2, July 1st.
Mm-hmm.
What else do we have? We have Lanterns coming up.
Spider-Man
in
Brand
August.
New Day in
Spider-Man Brand New Day.
July 31st.
We're action-packed here. And we're going to do a special What You're Watching, because I'm going to watch He-Man.
Masters of the Universe, yeah.
I'm watching the Masters of the Universe movie at some point between this week and next. So I will be talking about it. And I don't care.
I haven't seen it yet, but I have a seat reserved for it I need to look up what day. But
okay,
it's
cool.
definitely still in the books. We're going to do What You Watching. Right. So that's something. What You're Watching is one of the categories of extra episodes that Supercast and Patreon subscribers get. So if you are a Supercast and Patreon subscriber, you get ad-free access to all of this, plus bonus episodes like those What You Watchings. We also just did the Sheep Detectives. You and David were doing Is God Is?
Yes, we're going to do Is God Is. So probably this week. What a haunting film. Let me just say
okay, that. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah.
And Masters of the Universe. That's going to be a fun, silly one. I grew up watching He-Man and She-Ra and like playing He-Man and She-Ra as a kid. So
absolutely,
I don't care. I unabashedly love the one from the 80s. I don't care.
I don't care. Exactly.
And then June for our regular extra episodes. The theme was the sake episode just went out for Second Breakfast, and our 11Z's movie club this month is Hard Boiled from John Woo, the 1992 Hong Kong classic action. As
it should be.
Yeah. It ended up winning by a good amount in the end. So, and actually, it is like David pointed out. I'm partially through that movie now. And David pointed out that it is like has some overlap with noir. And since he said that, I've been paying attention. I'm like, no, he's right. It's got like the complicated plot and the literally hard-boiled detective.
I watched that movie with my friends at least, 30 times. Whether we were sober or not. And every time it was a total blast. Like, I don't know if I've ever seen that movie alone. Like, it's always been, it was always a celebration. Like, we're together doing something random, and we're like, yo, let's just put on the hard boiled, and the DVD would come out, and boom, and we're all there, and it's just such a wonderful, wonderful movie.
Well, I'm glad to finally get that off my for shame list.
I'm glad for you too. I'm happy for you, because if you haven't seen Hard Boiled, just make it your business to see that movie.
And then next month, the themes, it's going to be my month in July. So based on some prior conversations we had last month, I've decided to go with, it's wine month. So it's going to be Wine 101. So I'm going to be asking people some questions about wines they like and giving recommendations based on my background in wine school.
Okay.
And then the theme going along with that is In Vino Cinemas. So we'll be picking our selections and putting it up for a vote in the next few weeks.
Nice.
Let's see. All right. We got some jazzy Harlem Nights coming in honor of our Mr. Harlem Herald, Robbie. Woo! All right. So if you enjoy this, the best thing that you can do, it's absolutely free. Share this with anyone else you think would enjoy this episode, anyone else who's watching Spider-Noir or should be watching Spider-Noir. You have no idea how much that helps us. Nice reviews wherever you're listening are also an enormous help. And do also please check out our other affiliates in the network. We have Properly Howard movie reviews, Never Mind the Music, where psychology meets music, Radioactive Ramblings. They just were doing Invincible coverage, Wool Shift Dust starting weekly coverage of Silo starting July 3rd. So watch out for that. And the Star Wars Canon Timeline podcast, my other podcast. And thank you always to our community volunteers, the Dunedain. We have Hand of the Pod, Nancy, aka Two Kids, Two Dogs, Captain of the Polherum, Peter O.H., Keeper of the Show Tracker, Sub-Zero, and moderators Brian 8063 and Aaron K. Thank you to our Discord server boosters, Aaron K, Tiller the Thriller, Duve71, Athena Ajalea, Lestu, Nancy M, Ghost of Partition, Radioactive Richard, and Adrian. Thank you to all of our subscribers, but most of all to the highest tier, the Lore Masters, Samartian, Michael G, Michelle E, SC, Peter O.H, Nancy M, Duve71, Brian 8063, Frederick H, Sarah L, Garrett C, Andrew B, Kwang Yu, Nathan T, Sub-Zero, Aaron K, Dali V, Mothership 61, Gnarls, Kathy W, Lestu, Jeffrey B, Elisa U, Ben B, Scott F, Stephen N, Julia F, Colly S, Marielle, Rocky Zim, Jessica A, Red Zippy, the TCS, Dopamini, LNR, Mrs. Tennant, AC Wilson, Eli W, Cassie K, Chumber Rooney, Katia, Josh Liu, Paint and PDX, Corey G, Quinch, Jenny L, Slavinator, and always last Adrian. All right. Final thoughts for let's send this one to Mr. Nicolas Cage. What do we want to say to him?
Never stop.
Keep being you.
Never stop.
Keep being you, boo.
The Lorehounds podcast is produced and published by the Lorehounds. You can send questions and feedback and voicemails at thelorehounds.com/contact. Get early and ad-free access to all Lorehounds podcasts at patreon.com/thelorehounds. Any opinions stated are ours personally and do not reflect the opinion of or belong to any employers or other entities.